And now we're on to our coping skill of the week, which is visualization this week. And visualization is basically when you utilize your mind or even your body to imagine something, to create imagery or to envision yourself doing something. And this is heavily backed by neuroscience and sports psychology. Neuroimaging and physiological tracking show that your brain cannot fully distinguish between an action you are vividly imagining and one that you are physically performing. And this is one of the reasons why visualization works so well as a coping skill. It helps you to stimulate the exact same regions of your brain responsible for you achieving that goal or that movement, perception, or emotional control. And it gives you the opportunity to practice it with real life execution without necessarily really doing much other than just visualizing it. Visualization is a incredible strategy for coping, and it can help us gain clarity on where we want to go and how we could get there. So, we're going to practice visualization today in a way that is probably a lot of people have done. We created some vision boards about the project that we're working on that's inspiring. Now, the project is not fully ready to be rolled out yet, but basically, the idea that we're working on is that everybody could use an emotionally corrective, positive experience about their mental health. So why not come to the Emotional Endurance Carnival to experience that? So let's share our vision boards. We both created one, and these vision boards are focused on how we want people to feel, what we want the transformation to be, what we want the experience to be like. And Crimson, I'll let you go first. Yours is on the left side. That's more black and yellow. Why don't you tell us what you got going on there?
All right, Lori. So I know that when we sat down to talk about the Emotional Endurance Carnival, we really wanted to think about how the person experiencing it would leave. And this is what I came up with. I want them to be aware of what's happening inside of them. I want them to feel capable. I want them to be empowered with tools that they can use in that moment. I want them to feel hopeful. I think that's something so underrated because maybe I'm really bad at it. Like, hope isn't my thing. But what I've learned by practicing conscious coping and by building my emotional endurance over the last 2 years of working with you is that you can get better at it. It's just forcing yourself to experience it and to get in the reps of the discomfort of getting good at it. One of the biggest things for me is I want people to know that we're not alone. Like, none of us are perfect. We work on emotional endurance. Ask my kids, they'll tell you I am not regulated. I would like to think I mostly am, but there is no perfect in this. And I think it's really important to bring the compassion of we're not alone, we're doing this together, and you have a lot more agency than you think. And then, of course, I want people to feel connected. Doing this with a cohort of people or bringing friends or doing it, I just want them to know it goes with being you're not alone. You're not alone. And here are other people that are doing the work, that want to do the work, that are trying to show up regulated, that are trying to improve and to evolve into a more regulated person. And so I think that is important for people to have that connection. And then becomes our main thing, right? The core to our fundamental belief, which is between the stimulus and response is our power. And this is about learning how to hone in that power and hardwire your brain to be responsive and to be in control, which brings me to the last feeling, which is empowered. I want people to leave with being equipped, empowered, aware, connected. And I think with all of that, they'll be more ready to build their emotional endurance.
Yeah, I love what you have there. I have more control over my response than I realized. That's really a hopeful thing. Mine's very similar if you want to scroll over. I loved yours. You can see our hopes were both in the frame for a minute there, and I think that's a big part of this is to give people hope. I also want to give people relief. I think a lot of times people are dealing with this stuff and they don't understand that there's biological, physiological elements to it. And so I think by giving them that information, that education, we can give them a lot of relief, which is going to help them feel more connected, more like they belong, more hope, and yes, more empowered to find more joy and all the good stuff in life. The more I do this work, the more I really believe that, like, in order to love life, we have to build the emotional endurance to do that. And that's what I hope that this event would be, is like a first step into that in a way that feels good to people, that makes sense, but also alleviates a lot of their pain and gives them a great pathway for hope and empowerment into the future. And hopefully connecting with others. I mean, part of what we're trying to do here is to just give people the opportunity to practice talking about this stuff, or even not even talking, just experiencing it in the same room.
Right. And having that community, it's interesting. So for listeners, we did not do this together, but we have a lot of the same one. I mean, hope and connection is really a big, and empowerment. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
that's
glad we did
really
this expert exercise too. I do feel like this is inspirational to see. We do have a lot of carry through on both sides, but I think it really does help to concrete. Like, we have a lot of great ideas of how we would build this out and how we want to present this. But at the end of the day, these are the feelings we're really trying to get people to experience. And I think having that clarity is inspiring and encouraging.
absolutely. Well, adorable. Good
Yeah.
work.